Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in again for another weekly update on news and information about DCS World. It's the 17th of December. I hope this video finds you well wherever you're tuning in from today, and of course I'm your host Prickly Hedgehog. Let's dip into another very interesting newsletter this week from Eagle Dynamics regarding the pending 2.8.9 open beta patch, the winter sale, and also Eagle Dynamics' new DCS voice chat, more than 2 years in the making. So stick around, here we go. The final patch of the year is coming out next week for open beta, which, as I mentioned, will bring the game up to 2.8.9. There are a large list of changes for this, but they haven't all been published just yet. What we can expect, though, are some notable updates for Heapler products, including the substantial work being done to the Viggen, and also some changes for the Tomcat, which Heapler indicated was an overhaul of the night lighting for the night flyers among you, which they have said has been revamped for the latest DCS engine, quote. Now, the patch for the Viggen, according to Heapler, is, quote, massive. So no doubt this will be very, very exciting news for Viggen fans. Again, I don't know exactly what these changes are going to be. There's no specifics just yet, so sadly, we will have to wait until next week to see exactly what those are. Hopefully, though, it's a pleasant Christmas surprise. I'm actually secretly hoping it includes the AI version of the A6, which might also be introduced. We'll see. Remember, there were quite a few pictures of the A6 in a recent what would you call it, one of the Sunday newsletters, which showcases an operation or event of some kind in the real world. And yeah, like I said, it featured quite a few pictures of the A6. So that might have been a hint. Eagle Dynamics is renowned for doing things like that, or a clue, or an Easter egg, or a Christmas present in this case. So again, stay tuned. We'll see what happens next week. I'm pretty excited. If that A6 comes out as an AI version only at this time, it will only be an AI version. Later on down the road, they are going to make a full fidelity version of that aircraft, which is super exciting. But again, the AI version that they're including is pretty high fidelity in terms of the exterior. So again, it'll be a nice addition to the Forrestal aircraft carrier that we have in the game as well. So lots to be excited about. Now, getting back to the patch in general, of course, I do expect it to be a pretty big one. We have a swag of updates being showcased for the F-16 as well. Wags, of course, has been up to his usual tricks of highlighting various goodies, which are always worth a watch. And of late, there has been a lot of focus on the ECM system. And it looks like we're going to get one of the little ECM pods first, I think it is, and then with the bigger ECM pods coming later, according to some recent information. I'll put a link below to Wags' channel. If you're not already subscribed or tuned into that, it's well worth subscribing to get those updates and tutorials on the various aircraft as they come to hand. He also has a pretty snazzy banner of the Apache right now on his YouTube channel, which is cool to look at and a little bit of a hint of things to come. Now, speaking of the Apache, as we segue here, there is another Air Combat Sim podcast featuring the Apache and particularly Casmo from Casmo TV, a former Apache pilot, of course, in the real world. That was uploaded yesterday, and I was hoping to listen to it before today's newsletter to see if there were any other snippets that we could, I guess, include into this week's newsletter. Maybe some hints or some clues as to things that are going on, but alas, I just ran out of time. I'm actually pretty burned out right now. Work has been extremely stressful and busy for me, and of course, Mrs. Prickly Hedgehog had a little accident on the weekend, last weekend. She slipped on the ice, and I thought she'd actually knocked herself out because she wasn't responding to me when I called out to see what had happened. She did wrench her ankle, I should say, and she was kind of taking stock of kind of what happened and just how bad the ankle was before she responded to me. So either way, my routines this week have been just really hectic. I've been catching up on a lot of TV shows since she wasn't really mobile, and The Expanse and also The Wheel of Time. So I've been doing that. I haven't really been doing a lot of gaming time, and that's kind of impacted my routines a little bit. So she's been on crutches. That kind of put a damper on my ability to do some of the things I would normally do, of course, and take over tasks that she normally takes care of. So these things happen. That's what happens in a partnership. Anyway, she's moving around now without the crutches. She's on the mend, which is good. And hopefully we'll be able to listen to Casmo tomorrow, maybe when it's pretty cold in Minnesota tomorrow. I'm going to be lighting the fire, maybe sitting down, listen to a podcast or two, read a book, relax, and not do anything if I can help it, especially with how busy it's been. All right, I digress. Let's get back to the newsletter. And remember, there's another exciting sale going on right now. It's the annual winter sale with up to 50% off select modules. This is going to run until January 10th. It'll be the last opportunity really for the year to pick up some awesome deals. And as mentioned, with some modules like the Viggen being revamped and a massive update from Heatblur, it might be worth branching out maybe and trying something new in preparation for the holiday period. So stay tuned for what's on offer there, because again, might be worth your while picking up something and, like I said, branching out and trying a different cockpit for a spin. How's that? All right, moving to the Hind, which is still being developed, of course, and you'll notice that ED has been pretty busy with glove rendering and the chronograph 3133 manual winding shock protected watch. Now these textures and updates are part of a process of changes to pilots in DCS world in general, so keep your eyes peeled on how these turn out and for clues really on what other window treatments will be available for your favorite ED aircraft pilots. Now these aren't mission critical components obviously, but I do appreciate the artwork that goes into making these things. The small facets of realism are generally really well done, the stitching on the gloves in this case and those kinds of things. There's a lot of other little cool things that ED does, and we actually saw a really nice video of some refueling going on, and they were refueling one of the F-16s earlier this week, and I have asked Eagle Dynamics several times if we can have a built-in F-10 kind of key combination to create a refueling position, so you don't have to play around with the keys to get a corresponding match to that view, or actually some sort of rendered view from that position, so that we can get those neat shots of the aircraft refueling. So anyway, we'll see what happens with that. It was a cool video, and hopefully we'll see something there. All right, moving on to the crux of this week's newsletter, which is the thing that's been in development for several years now, and that is voice chat.
Quickly we'll go non-burner, slightly. I'll go right up against the stops, you'll go right against the stops, plus a little bit of burner.
Now, what they're telling us is that it's going to be released, of course, in this next open beta update, which is exciting, and they're going to deliver a major update to the integrated radio communications. Voice chat operates natively within DCS, and no additional software or installs are going to be required to run it. The enhancements that they're hoping to make are going to be ongoing, and they're basically asking for a little bit of patience and also some bug reporting as they continue to develop this pretty complex communication stack, as they call it. So they will be adding radio communication to the combined arms roles as well, ground units, ATC, and even AWACS, which is exciting. They are also working for further development with regards to encrypted communication noises, clicks, distortions, and voice synthesizing in real time, and other features they haven't talked about. Now, there is a document published from Eagle Dynamics on how to use this system. Not all of the features, as I mentioned, are implemented yet, of course, including things like the F-18 MIDS channels. It will allow basically for a push-to-talk feature for supported multi-crew or a hot mic style function, which does not require a button push. So it'll be interesting to see how it compares to third-party systems like SRS right now. Eagle Dynamics has encouraged third-party developers like SRS to configure their modules in a similar way, and ED hopes that this system that they're building will simplify things. So quite a lot of work has gone into it, so I'm going to be very interested to see how it works. Basically, it requires you to go into the cog in the settings and activate this. You will be able to, for multiplayer at least, talk to blue players only, red players only, and also have a lounge where all of you guys can talk together. So if you were setting up some sort of pre-mission kind of thing where you had adversaries, you could do your briefing in the lounge, obviously, and then branch out into your separate groups. Now, a lot of us do this probably with some version of it with, of course, Discord, and then perhaps SRS as well. But this is going to be an interesting and perhaps more convenient way of communicating with players in the game. So we'll see how that works. Stay tuned. Looking forward to what the final kind of guise, what the setup looks like and how it functions. So stay tuned. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. All right, well, that pretty much wraps up this week's newsletter. A shorter one than usual because of the build up to the crescendo of next week's patch, which, as I said, is going to be pretty substantial and features a lot of these exciting things and many others that we haven't yet mentioned, of course. So thanks for continuing to support the channel by liking and subscribing. Thanks to John Bloor for the snazzy graphics at the beginning and the end of the vid, and of course the banner on my YouTube home channel. Don't forget to give him a vote of thanks for the work he's done for me there. I really, really appreciate it. Take care. Throw a comment or two in the comment section below. Check out Wags' swag on his Viper updates. Also on the Eagle Dynamics channel as well. They've got the sale video, which is a snazzy one too, I must say. And it's going to be a cold one in Minnesota tomorrow, so I'm going to be sitting in front of the fire, as I mentioned. We'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. Take care. Cheers.